Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we need to talk about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks going forward. With the announcement of the most recent structure deck advent of the Eyes of Blue, it kind of puts us on a weird path and a weird trend as of recently that I think kind of brings up some questions as to kind of the future of where Yu-Gi-Oh! Structure decks are going to go. Over the past couple of years, the standard procedure for structure decks has been like 2 structure decks a year in the OCG at least. Not every single structure deck has been printed into the TCG, but we'll get them imported elsewhere. But as far as just new cards go, the OCG has been doing 2 structure decks a year. Generally speaking, in the first half of the year, they'd come out with a structure deck that is kind of a random one-off, not part of any super specific, lineage or pattern, aside from them focusing on one of 2 things. They either tend to pick a structure deck that is a popular anime character structure deck. Like last year we saw the Red Dragon Archfiend structure deck come out. Makes sense. Jack Atlas, Red Dragon Archfiend, one of the Signer Dragons, cool. Has that anime following basis to kind of be popular enough to work its way up. Or we see stuff like the Trap Trick structure deck, which is fan favorite archetype, has some nostalgia from formats where it's been a very competitive, deck in like a while back past formats, giving them a structure deck and getting them back up to like playable level, rogue level as well. Those tend to be the 2 that they choose between on those sides, and then they get to the structure deck R series, which is where Konami has been going back almost in direct order for a while, aside from a couple of recent cases, just going in direct order of chronological order from past old structure decks and going, let's give a new version structure deck to that to make it play in modern day. Then this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. They just go down the line, except for a couple that they skipped recently. The most recent iterations of those that we've seen were structure deck Onslaught of the Fire Kings from last year, and now that we have the announcement of Blue Eyes, it is a little bit weird on this one, because normally they name the structure deck like literally Structure Deck R, then literally the same name. When we saw the new Fire King structure deck, it was called Structure Deck R Onslaught of the Fire Kings. The new Blue Eye structure deck isn't named Structure Deck R, but that doesn't mean it isn't still in that, and they're still not working with that. It doesn't mean they're not doing the same thing, basically. Just because it's Blue Eyes, they wanted to make sure, because they've had multiple Blue Eye structure decks, maybe they just want to give it a different name so it wasn't too complicated. Whereas with most of these other ones, they only have 2 structure decks, so it's like, which one's the old one, which one's the R? So that's possible, but it is something to worth noting that they don't put the R in this name, so we're not entirely sure that they're like continuing on. But I think most likely we are. Speaking of which, in the next couple months, we're going to start getting reveals for these. Not even the next couple months, next couple weeks probably. We're just over 2 months out from the structure deck coming out in the OCG. We'll probably get this sometime late November, early December, something like that. But at least for them, maybe the next 1 or 2 weeks, we may get the first reveals for this structure deck, which is pretty exciting because I do want to see what level Konami wants to push Blue Eyes for. But yeah, anyway. Looking at the Structure Deck R series and where they were, if you haven't been following along, they did skip 2 more recent structure decks before they got. So the structure decks before Onslaught of the Fire Kings were Dragonic Legion, which is basically like a Chaos Dragon, Light and Dark Dragon structure deck. They skipped that one, which I was totally fine with. I think like this got skipped around the time Bestials got dropped in the game anyway, or like just before that anyway, so like they made up for it. They gave us some pretty good like chaos support after that anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. I was totally fine with that. The one that did rub me a little bit, rougher was Roar of the Sea Emperor. I really wanted to see Atlanteans get support. We've been getting more water stuff as of lately, but nothing that specifically helps like the Mermail Atlantean deck, more so just like individual water decks. Like Sharks and Marine Cess and stuff, but it is what it is. But these 2 got skipped. First, when they did Fire King, I was like, there's still a world where they go back and do Sea Emperor just because 2023 was the year of fire in Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's like, okay, sure, do you skip ahead just to hit like Fire Kings for the year of fire and then you go back? But now we've already got Blue Eyes announced, so it looks like we're kind of just going to leave these in the dust. Maybe eventually they'll come around with these, or they may just put Atlantean cards maybe in just a core set support. I could see that happening. But for now, they look like they're getting skipped fully, which takes us to who actually is on the slate for next year. Next year, it looks like Cyber Dragons should be getting their structure deck, which I would be super, super hyped for. Because, one, I've talked about this before. Structure decks are like the best way any of your favorite archetypes can get support. It's 8 new cards. Konami is going to make it a full, comprehensive strategy just within that structure deck. And they come all at once, and it's like semi-cheap. So even if it was like a meta archetype, they'd be shell out $30 for 3 structure decks, and you have every piece you need for the entire deck. Even if you didn't have any of the older cards for the deck, you would literally just shell out $30, and you should have basically the whole core aside from some generic cards you might need. And not to mention, Konami's been doing a lot better job lately at actually giving us like 1 or 2 really solid reprints. We've seen really popular hand traps that Konami used to never give reprints to in structure decks. Stuff like that is really, really welcome and nice. So, this is a cool one. I would really love to see this. Cyber Dragon has such a good core of cards already that, like, they just need a little oomph. And 8 cards is super, super easily, like, capable of giving them that oomph. Next up, you move to heroes. I think the coolest thing about this structure deck, actually, is that it's specifically masked heroes in this structure deck that they focused on the most. In fact, I'm not sure we've gotten any masked hero support post this structure deck. When it originally came out, we've gotten all the other types of heroes, your elemental heroes, destiny heroes, evil heroes, vision heroes. We've gotten like all those other heroes, just not masked heroes. And I think the masked heroes are some of the strongest ones, right? Like Dark Law. And Mask Change is a really powerful card, but right now it feels like Dark Law is really the only worthwhile, like, one that you actually like make consistently that's worth it. So maybe seeing a little expansion there would be really, really helpful to them. I don't know, but heroes obviously have a ton of cards, so they have a lot to work with there. Next up, you move to Synchron. Synchrons are weird because they just got like quite a bit of support in a core set recently. So like, I don't know, but also this could be a couple years down the line, right? If we're talking 2025 Cyber Dragons, 2026 Heroes, are we talking 2027 for Synchrons? Like maybe that's 4 years removed and we're like, okay, that's fine. But it does still feel like a little bit recent. So we got like a decent sized wave. I mean, Adventure Synchron is still a legit deck right now. It's getting regional tops and stuff. So keep an eye out for that. Odd Eyes, this is like, if you're a Pendulum lover, Odd Eyes is like the Blue Eyes of Pendulum. So it's cool. I don't have much to say about this one. They have some cool cards. It's another main character archetype. That's probably why they'd push for it. DDD, DDD is definitely popular, but I never watched this series of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, so I honestly don't know how popular the character is or relevant the character is, but I know there's some DDD fans out there. And then you finish up, I would say this is about as far as I would even worry about looking for right now. You get to the Yugi and Kaiba structure decks, where we got the ABC cards in 2015 and the Electromagnet Warriors in 2015. I would love to see a revamped structure deck for the Magnet Warriors. ABCs have gotten so much more love. Not only was this structure deck way better, they just got support in Duels of Brilliance, where like boom, the ABC pieces just got a legit solid wave of like 7 cards that are going to make them at least Rogue again. We'll even see. I've seen some people call them better than Rogue, but we'll see. And like Magnet Warriors just fall behind. I'd love to see that so much, but that I already made a video recently on that. I don't need to dive any deeper into that. Anyway, still cool nonetheless. I will say this. This year we have only gotten just the Blue Eyes structure deck. Nothing for the first half of the year. And that's a little worrisome to me. I feel like structure decks are some of the easiest like types of products for Konami to make. One, because it's just like a standard set, set, like where there's no variation to the sets. You just print the cards that are in there. You don't have to worry about getting all the cards jumbled up and making them random packs or anything like that. And I feel like they fly off the shelves. Like structure decks just move. As long as whatever's in the structure deck is at least like Rogue playable, which I feel like is pretty easy to do with 8 new cards for a structure or for an archetype. it feels like they should be able to do that. Like that's something that Konami should want to chase. In fact, if I was Konami, I feel like I'd almost want to lean into doing like 3 a year, and trying to really get like work around on some of the archetypes that have a lot of fans. They really want them to be good again. Like you should want to have a structure coming out like pretty regularly, at least 2 a year. But I would almost look into doing 3 a year. But obviously, I don't work on the financial side of Konami, so I don't know exactly how profitable they are, but I feel like they have to be. But I feel like they're easier to make. I feel like they fly off the shelves as long as they're executed decently well, and I don't know. I want to see them. I want to see more of them coming next year because they're good ways for archetypes to get support that need it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I just tried to cover a little bit of everything going forward here. Other than that, I have like no idea. The structure decks can be a crapshoot aside from trying to hope that the structure deck R's kind of just keep online. The other ones can kind of be out of nowhere. Nobody expected Jack Atlas, the structure deck. Nobody expected Trap Tricks when it came. So we just have to sit back and wait to see if we get new ones announced for early next year. In a couple months, but it is what it is. I'm out of here for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel for more stuff from me down the line. Also, let me know your thoughts down below down here. Would you be really excited to find out that Cyber Dragon is next year's structure deck, or would you kind of be a little peeved by it? What would you want to see out of this lineup here if you wanted them to skip around? That's the other thing too, is Konami could easily skip any of these. They could say, oh, we did Synchrons in a core set recently, like within the last couple of years. Let's not do a Synchron structure deck, right? Oh, Odd Eyes. I don't know if pendulums are that popular. Let's skip on Odd Eyes. Or maybe they do Odd Eyes I could see them doing Odd Eyes on a cover core set too, right? Like, is there a world where some of these could get skipped and then some of the ones down the line could come up faster? Who knows? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this down below. But I'm out here for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.